Lils.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have, all right, welcome everyone to our training. This training is called Typical and Atypical Aging. My name is Regina May. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I am becoming certified to be a trainer. Would you please go around and introduce yourselves?
I'm Grace Kohler. I'm a social worker.
Nice to have you.
I'm Lily Geltman. I was a counting navigator.
I'm Leah Monroe. I'm a social worker here with neuropsych and MS.
I'm Skylar Dillon. I'm a social worker.
Awesome. So we can get CEUs for this. Here's a sign-in sheet if everybody would sign. I have some mints on the table if y'all want to help yourselves, and help yourself to pens, and you have little note pages in your folder. Also in your folder you have dementia resources. I included this information at the bottom about the brain and the functions of the areas of the brain because I find this the most helpful thing when I'm talking to caregivers. There are also other very helpful things, but these are the ones I can't have a hard time memorizing. So that's why I included them for you, and I hope they're helpful, along with some other local resources and websites. And our agenda for today is here. Okay, so the objective for today, the objectives, by the end of the workshop, you will be able to compare and contrast typical aging versus atypical aging related to various cognitive functions. You will be able to describe the 5 sensory input and processing systems, highlighting the dominant role of vision and the major differences between protective and discriminating sensations in each. And you'll be able to discuss the impact of changing sensory awareness and processing as dementia progresses. Okay, so there's the agenda. Now we're going to do a little exercise. This is about learning styles. So I'm going to hand this out. I would like for each of you to look at this and decide which learning styles are most like you and which ones are absolutely not. Which ones are not yours, which ones are yours. Take a few seconds to do that. And then after you've kind of looked those over, will you please discuss with one another since we have such a small group, we can kind of, no, we can pair off. You two, please discuss like what is your learning style, how you like most being presented with information, and also what type of presentation absolutely just kind of goes over your head and doesn't work for you. Can you discuss that with your partner? Thank you.
What do you got?
What works the best for you?
I mean, like everyone else, kind of like a combination.
And then I like to talk about it.
When things are organized within like some sort of categorical nature.
Love
But I like being presented with the data, and I like to
it belongs.
go off on my own to think about it, and then I can come back like to process it.
I like that. I feel the same way. I think that all of us, as we're using more internet and we're seeing more like 60-second videos, I do love visual spatial learning. I love short videos, graphics, and pictures. Love having
I feel
a
like
visual.
trying to think about it.
Yeah, I
like
like
solitude is
like the
helpful,
visual,
but
like I like
but that's
I
something
don't
I
know
like
what I
maybe
do with,
struggle
like,
with the most.
the
Like, I really
videos
like
aren't
the
as
collaborative
helpful for me,
process.
Okay.
but the
And
handouts are great because I'll try take notes and then I'll remember where I put something kind of
Yes,
that
I
type.
so get that, yeah.
But videos when things are moving, I don't keep track of where they go, you know?
Fair enough, fair enough.
That's a good one.
Um,
I like
I'm
having
definitely not an
teachers
existential learner, I don't think.
That is the best for me.
I like,
But
maybe
yeah,
I
I
like
think
to hear
that
about the
for
big
different
picture, but I
things,
feel like I focus
I
on the
incorporate
details
like a
for the most
lot
part.
of these.
I
I'd love to
think,
use
yeah,
more music.
I go
That would
back
be
and
more fun.
forth. It depends on what I'm learning about.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
At school, it is all theory, like that's.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to read them one more time.
Um,
See if I got
I'm
it.
trying to think if there's any other parts. The musical part, I might maybe be more inclined to remember, but it's not my first go-to.
All right, cool. Skylar, look what my phone's doing.
Uh-oh.
So,
Okay.
Oh, once it started charging and went into that frame.
so I want to just point out that with these TIPA Snow trainings, first of all, think about, I start from this end. When we're working with someone with dementia or a caregiver or any client, it's very important for us to know how they receive information, what is their learning style. And then also, you will notice in these trainings that we really do try to hit on every learning style. Some quiet reflection on your own, some getting together to talk, and it's obviously, so you can retain the information better, sort of meta stuff and all that, okay? So I'm going to start the video now, and we'll pause intermittently and discuss. Throughout this video, Tipa will do hand motions, and it's important to do the hand motions with her. Okay, so I don't think in this first segment we have any hand motions, but I have noticed that doing the hand motions with her, and it is her intention as well, it really does help you retain information and be able to share it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start this. How do I play
I
it?
think you just click.
Click. Click.
Mm-hmm. There you go. I think it's fine.
There we go. Okay.
What we're going to talk about now is the difference between normal aging and not normal aging. Now understand, I did not say dementia. I just said normal aging, not normal aging, because one of our big misconceptions in this country is that if it's not normal aging, it's going to be dementia. And that's not true. So we've got to get that one off the table. So what I'm going to do very quickly is give you two quick little role plays that are going to take you through normal versus not normal. So I'll do normal first. I'm in the living room, and I've been watching a TV program, and the program finishes, and I decide, you know what? I'm thirsty. I think I'm going to go make a pot of coffee. And I head toward the kitchen to make coffee. But before I get all the way in the kitchen, the telephone rings. And so I answer the telephone. Hello? Oh, hey, sweetheart. How have you been? Well, yes, of course I know who it is. It's, right on the tip of my tongue. Starts with B. Betty, of course it's Betty. Sorry. Recognized your voice right away, just couldn't think of your name. Yeah, senior moment. Huh? What? Oh, no, I'd love to get together. Oh, today? Okay, what? At 2? This afternoon? All right. Oh, at the mall. Okay, well, which end? Macy's. Oh, that's where J.C. Penney's was, right? They moved out and then, I know what you're talking about. Absolutely. The menswear, is that the same, yep, I know where to be. 2 o'clock, I'll be there. Wait right inside the door. I'll be waiting right inside that door. It's supposed to be a little chilly this afternoon. Yeah? Huh? What? Oh, they opened a new chocolate store. Oh, well, you know me. You know what I'm going to get. I'll get caramels. I always get caramels. You're going to get I know you like the white flaky stuff in the chocolate. Yes, coconut, of course. That's you. Huh? Oh, no, I'll be happy to call to see if Margaret wants to come. That'd be great. Yeah? Oh, the vacation pictures? Oh, yeah, I'll bring them. Wait till you see yourself in that bathing suit. Oh, I was just kidding. Just teasing you. You know how I am. Such a teaser. She's getting fat. I'm not going to say it, but she's getting fat. Okay, huh? I didn't say anything. I was just talking to myself, writing a note. All right, sweetheart. Well, I'll see you then. Love you. Okay, bye-bye. What did I come in for? Okay, hang on. Let me think here. I was in the living room. I was watching the TV. Program ended. Betty hadn't called. I'd been able to look at anything on this. Okay. I was in the living room. I was sitting right. Hang on. Ended, and I thought. Losing it. Now, all of you've gone dead silent because all of your brains are going, oh shit, I have this. Every single one of your brains is going, oh my God. And your brain is going, that's not dementia, that can't be dementia. I don't think that's dementia, that's just normal. Isn't that normal? I think that's normal. Your brain is talking to itself. One side is going, I think you've got, no, she didn't say that was dementia. I think she said that was just not normal. I think that was okay. That happens every single time. The room gets dead silent because if you just think old people are worried about this crap, no, we're all concerned. Because you're going, I think I've done that. I did that just yesterday. What you've totally forgot, because in that moment your brain was going, is I said that was normal. I was going to do normal first. So here's what I think I better do. Do this. Roll your shoulders. I think we better do it one more time. You need to let it go. Breathe out all the way because you guys were going. And by the end, your brain's going, shit, oh my God, you've got it. I told you it. I told you this. It's not just stress. I didn't think it was just stress. I told you it was. Especially when I had to come back and sit in the chair. You were going, oh my God. So.
Okay, so I ask my very young audience, has this ever happened to any of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Or even have you noticed anybody in your life, maybe an older person, that this happens to them? It certainly happens to me. Okay, so if you, why do you think this happens? If it's happening to you at a young age or, other people, why does it happen?
I think I'm not being as mindful. I feel like there's too many things that I'm working on at one time.
Yeah.
Multitasking.
Yeah, like
what it boils down to.
Your plate can only hold so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else? ADD. So, I mean, yes, sort of similar. Like you can only pay attention to so many things at once, or it comes in and it goes out so quickly in one ear and out the other, sort of. Okay. Did you guys have any sort of physiological distress, or did your breathing change watching this at all? Not really, so maybe something that you're not totally worried about yet. Okay, so why do you think this would be anxiety provoking for some people?
It's scary. I don't know, not having full control of how your mind is operating.
Yeah,
it's scary.
Might feel like you're sort of losing control. Yeah. Okay. So when we get stressed out, our brain releases cortisol, and it's a stress hormone, and it causes us to become even more distressed. And so one thing that counteracts that process is slow, deep breathing. So let's all take a slow, deep breath. And that will bring our cortisol levels back down. Let's do it 2 more times. Okay, 1 more. Okay, very good. So far, A+.
Okay, so here we go. Hand up. Human beings have 5 ways to take things from, do this, out there and get them in their brain. 5 ways to take data from the world around you and put it in here so you can use it. You can process it, you can understand it, you can appreciate it. So the number 1 way, notice how it's separated from all the others. It's special. Do this, be an artist. Visual data. Visual data is the most powerful incoming data. It is what human beings prefer, and it is what they want first in any way of collecting data. They want to see something first. It allows them to see it, and then they can start to think about what they want to do next. But what you see is the most powerful sensory input that you're going to get in your brain. But here's the interesting thing about vision. Show me what you see with. Point to what you see with. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Put your hand back here. This is where you process in your brain what you see. So brain activity in the occipital area, the back of your brain, is where you process visual input. There's a little bit of distance there, isn't there? What connects the input system to the processing system is wiring. And in dementia, all wiring goes on the fritz and then dies, just so you know. So there's a lot of wiring here, and it's complicated wiring. It's actually fairly complicated because how many eyes do you have? 2. So you've got to take in data from 2 eyes, integrate those 2 pieces of data, process it, and then make sense of it. So all that's happening in the back of your brain. I'll show you in a few minutes. There's a huge amount of your brain devoted to visual processing. It's huge. There's also wiring between what you see and some other parts. Second way that you get data in your brain, take your index finger. Oh, look at how it points to things. What you hear, auditory incoming. Auditory data is the second most important way that human beings get data into their brain. Auditory. But if you hear a sound off to the side, what will you immediately do? Look, because this is primary. This just alerts you to go look and see what it is you want to see. So when it comes to dementia, visual then auditory. People with dementia pay more attention and are getting more value out of what they see than what they hear. This is secondary, this is primary. Guess what caregivers like to do a lot, though? Do this. Y'all love to run your mouth. You think they're paying attention to what you're saying. What they're doing is watching you when you're saying it. And they're picking up on your visual cues, but they're missing the content cue. Because what happens is we think they're processing what we're giving them verbally, and what they're really processing is how we look visually and how we sound, but not necessarily the content. And because we're not on the same page, they're not getting this, they're getting this. We think they're getting this. This is not going to match. Who has to change? We do. So we have to use less of this and start with this. And learn to use visual more than auditory. Third way you get data in, auditory. Put your hands right here. Your temporal lobes. Both sides are involved, but they're very different. This side is very different than this side. How many ears do you have? 2. All forms of dementia, all forms attack the brain asymmetrically. It means it attacks one side of the brain more than the other. That's how it works. It hits one side and then it spreads more. So what happens, in general, the left side of the brain is generally attacked sooner and faster and more devastatingly than the right side of the brain. We don't know exactly why, but in most patterns of dementia attack, you're going to see more on the left than on the right. Left, right, language areas, but they're different. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Third way that you get data in your brain, take that middle finger, drop it down, and touch it to the back of your other hand. Now, this is actually complicated, and this is one of the most complicated, and it also takes up a lot of brain space. This is sensory motor. You feel something, you do something, you do something, you feel something. They're wired together so that when you feel something, if you like it, you do more of it. If you don't like it, you stop doing it. So when you feel something, you do something to change or encourage or facilitate what you're feeling, and if you don't like it, you don't do it anymore. Here's the biggest challenge of dementia care. Turn to the person next to you. If you will come up this time.
We're going to practice this after we pause the video.
Eliminate vision, and we're not going to talk. Okay, so we're taking away 2 of the ways that you would normally be able to get data into your brain, and I'm just going to use that third way. Go ahead and do that so you get the feel of what it feels like when you're doing this. So you can already tell where I'm going with this. This is not a good one to start with because most people are not fond of the idea of starting an interaction like this. And I do this particularly so you'll start to get the idea, no touching until you've done a visual verbal, and only then are you allowed to do the touch. You got to make sure they come together. So here's what we're going to do. You close your eyes. People with dementia, put your hands behind your back because I want you to feel incredibly vulnerable. That's what this disease does. It robs you of skills, so you suddenly are pretty vulnerable. And you thought you were confident. Okay, so caregivers, here's what you're going to do. You watch me and do to them what I do to my person. Okay, y'all should have your eyes closed. There should be no peeking. Notice how many of you opened them up to see what I was up to. Yeah, they're sneaky like that. Okay, you ready? We're going to use these. Okay, you ready? And now, one more. Now, I'm going to pause you. How many of you found at some point who were being touched, your eyes flew open?
It's not listening.
How many of you realized you had a really hard time?
There we go. Okay. All right. Let me make sure, let me just put this on. I don't know what's going on here.
I also started a voice recording, so if all else fails, you at least have that.
Wow, are you busy next week when I do this?
Okay.
I wonder if we can get it set up standing up? We can balance it?
Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Here. Okay. That's actually going? Yes. Okay, all right, good. Now I would like for us to practice that, that interaction. So the idea is somebody's going to be the person with dementia and have their hands behind their back, and the other person, and the other person is going to just touch them, okay? So can we pair off? Okay.
I can have dementia.
Leslie, you and I can pair off. Or Grace and I can pair off. Okay, I'll be the person with dementia. Okay.
This feels like it's not workplace appropriate.
It really
does.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just gonna like
Probably dementia.
touch around you. Okay.
It's weird.
I don't like it.
I can't talk. Okay.
All right, we done? Okay, everybody got, all right.
No, you didn't do a good job.
I did do a good job.
It's okay. You gotta really make them uncomfortable.
All right, so what happened, let's hear from the people with dementia. What happened for you? How did that feel?
Unpleasant.
Okay, how? Unpleasant how?
Like boundaries.
Boundaries?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Are not enforced.
I told Lily I didn't think it was that unusual because I have a 1-year-old who's every you can't go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Not dissimilar from a dementia person.
Right. Grace?
Sort of the same, like you didn't know what was happening, confused and uncomfortable and
Yeah.
wanting to.
Like you didn't know the purpose of the touch?
Yeah.
You didn't know how far it was going to go. And we didn't even really touch you in your very vulnerable spots, right? I mean, and it still was uncomfortable. Okay. And what did you find yourself wanting to do?
Open my eyes.
Open your eyes, yeah.
Move away.
Get out of the
Push your arm
situation.
away.
Yeah, push away, okay. And why do you think you felt like that?
In a way, it was sort of like a threat.
Yeah, it's threatening. What else?
I was not the person with dementia, but if I was, I probably would have made noise, like screamed out, because I don't like being touched in general. So I would have been startled by it.
A startle, yeah. It kind of like, I can imagine, just to kind of give a common thread, that you feel sort of powerless, and maybe might want to even come out fighting a little bit, you know. Okay, so what do you think you would have said if you were someone with dementia who you know, maybe doesn't have all of the faculties that we have to be so eloquent about how it made us feel? And what do you think you would have said or done if you were the person with dementia?
Some really fun expletives.
Some expletives, yes, right, yes, okay. Yeah, maybe you like I said, you're your fight would come out, possibly. And how do you think this exercise applies? We work with people with dementia. How does it apply? I think about the things that I've heard caregivers say about the behavior of their person with dementia. But how do you think it applies to trying to help someone with dementia?
How does which part apply?
Just
Like talking?
the exercise, the how to touch, how to approach, how to get cooperation when you're trying to accomplish something with them. How do you think it applies?
I think it's a reminder, like get within people's like eye line as their peripheral vision narrows, and kind of talk to them as you're moving so that they're prepared to be touched.
Awesome, yes. Right, be mindful of where they are, that they might not be able to see you coming at them, that they might not realize if you're not in their line of sight that they're getting ready to be touched, and understand that anybody would react the way they reacted, Okay, very good.
I'm not going, oh, wait a minute, hang on there. Now, what I want you to do right now is touch yourself where we just touched you. Go ahead and touch yourself where we made the touches.
Okay. Touching ourselves where we want to be touched. Okay, all right. Everybody did that? Okay. So how was that different?
You know what to expect.
You know what's coming. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, and it makes you feel how? When you know what's coming, how does it make you feel?
Prepared.
Prepared.
I hear
Calmer.
the psychometrists do this often. They announce what they're going to do before they do it. So if you have to help with a transfer or help get someone not into the bathroom but just to the bathroom, they're saying, I'm going to touch your right arm. Before they do that, then the person knows
what to expect. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
How many of you feel that feels different than when we touched you? Yeah. Because if you are doing it yourself, you're actually sending and receiving, and it's a closed circuit. However, when we do to you, it's an open circuit, and for your brain, we eliminated the knowledge of where and when the touch was going to occur, and so your brain was going, oh, 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 oh. It was a hyper alerting, and let me tell you something that we don't think about touch. Light moving touch. Light moving touch. Cockroaches crawling on your skin. Toes rubbing across. Someone sneaking. Light moving touch is an alerting, arousing touch. It's the hyper alert kind of thing. Danger, danger, Will Robinson. Because it says something's coming and you don't know what it is. And so what happens when we put our hands on people, even lightly, so you touch them lightly and say, wake up, sweetheart. Boom! Because it came out of nowhere. So what I'm going to do is have you try something a little different. We'll really work on this skill this afternoon, but I want you to test drive the model and see if it makes a difference. Okay? I want you to shake hands with the person. Now, I want you to tell me for a second, what's the most common contact we have with other human beings when we're greeting them and interacting with them? Hand contact, right? So shake hands, and notice the next thing you're going to want to do is let go. Oh, well, that's a bit of a problem, because I want to stay connected, because I want to keep the touch so that you'll know what I'm going to do. But the problem is when I lose skill and keep strength, and I like pressure, go ahead and do it. Ow! Wait, Mom, let go. Let go. What are you doing? Okay? Or if they feel like I'm trying to hold on to them, it makes them want to get away from me. Okay? So what we're going to do is as soon as we shake, where did I tell you you found comfort? So what we're going to do, and I don't want to trap your fingers. I want to leave your fingers free. I want my fingers free, but I want to be connected to you. So what I'm going to do is slide like this, do this. Open your fingers up, both of you. Open your fingers up. Make them go like this. You should feel like you've created a bird, a butterfly. You're connected, but you're free to move. Close them down. They can hold on to you. They can use strength. They might use skill. It's comforting because you got pressure down there at the palm. And here's the really cool part. Hold on to them with your strength fingers, and you still can use your skill fingers. How cool is that? And you turn it so you're underneath, which gives the sense of, I'm here to support you and help you, not to try to keep you from doing things. Okay?
Okay. All right, so we're going to practice that. I'll demonstrate with Grace. Grace sat in the wrong seat. And then the 4 of you can partner up. So it's this, okay? And as you said, you come into their line of sight here. You know, their visual field shrinks. So you come into their line of sight, and we shake hands. Okay, and then it's this. This is what we're practicing here, a butterfly. Okay.
Thank you. Couldn't actually see that.
And then this is what she's referring to as strength fingers.
Okay.
And these are what she's referring to as skill fingers. So you can hold on with your strength fingers.
Supposed to be under.
Right? And then I would be able to help you do things like put your glasses on or feed you. Okay? All right.
Fine.
Did we do it the other way? Did everybody have a turn?
Yeah, it's only started that way.
Okay, did you guys switch off and do it the other way?
Are you right-handed though?
I am right-handed. Are you right?
Okay.
Okay.
You're left-handed, but.
Then
I know, I'm left-handed too, it's
Now,
confusing.
here's what we're going to do. You're going to lay your other hand on top of the back of their hand. You try this. Get them to, now this is an interesting phenomenon. The oldest sensory motor track in the human brain is eye-hand. It is the one that develops first. You put a baby, sit it up at 3 months. What will happen if you let go? Down it goes. It doesn't even have trunk control. Doesn't have head control. But if you lay it on its back, so it doesn't have to do a whole lot of work, and you put the dangly crap down right in the middle range, they're fascinated by it because they like to see it. And then they're just starting to learn how to do some of this stuff. So they're not very good at it. They don't have skill. They just have some strength. They're learning how, and they're learning to move against gravity. And so and you can watch them when they get it. It's like, look what I did. Did you see it? I have control. And suddenly their excitement builds because they have the feeling that they control the world. Oh. So what we're going to do, that's the oldest, most primitive sensory motor system in the brain. It's the one that is going to prevail the longest through the end of this disease. It'll be the last one I lose. I hand. But I'll lose skill before I lose strength.
Okay. So we are going to partner up and we're going to practice the hand-eye connection. So we're going to, everybody partner up. Grace and I will demonstrate. We'll here, and now look away. And then we're going to, okay, and then we'll get visual regard that way, okay, by prompting her to kind of look back. And then switch off. Okay. Good job.
Alright, okay, so then.
Wait a minute, you would be the.
Oh, sorry, I brought your attention back.
Wow, thank you. Okay, good. And then can y'all switch off and do it the other way? And then you give a little pop, little kind of, there you go. Okay, all right, very good. Let's see. Okay.
Visual, motor. Watch. She's here, she's looking around. So let your partner look around for a second. They're distracted, the world's really interesting, they're excited. Wow, how cool is this? Take your other hand, lay it gently on the back, and give a pump in the hand. And no matter what they're doing, they will pause, they will look at the hand, and they will look at you. Let them look away. Pause. Give them a chance. Check. Because when your hand touches something, your eyes want to see what it is. When your eyes are looking at something, it will also draw your hands. That's the other bad news. So what their eye sees, their hand wants to touch. And you're surprised when they start doing it. Well, you're the one that said, exactly. You put it right where they can see it, within arm's reach, and they're going, okay, look, goodies. On the other hand, if I do this, no matter what she's doing, she's going to notice me. Once I've got her looking at me, she travels with me, so her brain is both getting and giving. I've reestablished the two parts of the loop so that she is doing with me, I am not doing to her. And she can give me feedback. I'm liking this, this scared me, this was okay. Take more time here, but this was fine. Did she give me all that feedback? Yeah, we're talking to each other without words. Because what I'm doing is using what she has left to help me communicate with her with the way that she could get the communication, as opposed to overwhelming her system with data. Okay? So with your partner, I want you to give that a try. Feel the difference between touching with versus touching someone.
Okay. So we're going to go back to practicing hand under hand, and this time maybe perform something, maybe pretend like you're helping them to comb their hair or fix their badge or something like that with your hand under hand contact, okay? And then we'll switch off.
Are you living with dementia or am I living with dementia?
Gotta switch off anyway.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
My dementia or your dementia?
I'll be the person with dementia.
I'll be dementia. All right.
Is that,
I don't think you're supposed to say that.
Okay. Dementia. I'm
Living with person with dementia.
Mhm.
brush hair.
So,
brush teeth.
Very good.
Okay.
Vice versa.
So yes, under, yeah, there you
This
go.
way. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So now we're switching.
Now we're switching. So I've got your
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know what else.
All right,
Yeah. Okay.
y'all did okay?
Yes.
Felt confident? Okay.
Maybe I'm gonna bring food to get on myself.
Okay. There we go. Sounds good.
Everyone's looking good. All right, so how did that feel? How do you think that would feel for someone who has dementia? How would it feel different than how we started, which is poke, poke, touch, touch, coming at you? Why is it different? Or is it different?
Even though I do not have dementia, it does sort of feel like I am doing it because my hand is moving as well. Even though maybe I didn't start the movement, it feels like it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because your hand is moving along, but the circuit's closed, right? Like she said. Okay, what else? How was that for you? Better than poke, poke, touch, touch? Okay, all right. And how did it make you behave differently with your partner?
Like I'm not like trying to avoid the hands
Uh-huh.
that are coming at me.
Yeah, yeah. You don't have to protect yourself because you know what's coming. That makes sense. Okay. And so did you guys switch places already? Okay, all right. very good. So, all right, and do you feel like this would have an impact if caregivers could sort of learn how to do this, or if you're helping directly someone with dementia, do you feel like it would have an impact? Okay, how?
I feel like it helps slow things down as well, which is really important. So like the autonomy piece, and it's also slower than, let me brush your hair and get dressed and hurry and let's go out the door.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a more personal interaction, and yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
All right. So you're starting to get a sense of this. That kind of assistance has a term, and the term I've given that kind of assistance is hand under hand. It denotes the position of my hand. My hand is under yours. My hand is there to support yours. You're the boss. I'm here to help. I'm here to guide. I'm here to assist. I'm not here to take over and try to do things to you. I want to do things with you. Because I know if I can get your brain to understand what I'm doing, you're going to cooperate. You can give me feedback even when you can't speak anymore. You can give me feedback that doesn't result in me getting hit. We can figure out ways to share information because I'm paying attention to what you're able to do. So I'm going to show you where this data gets processed in your brain. It's huge. Do this. The entire top surface of your brain is devoted to sensory motor, sensation and movement, and they are, do this, hardwired together. What you feel drives what you do. What you do drives what you feel. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And there is wiring between what you see and what you do. And there is wiring in a normal brain between auditory processing and sensory motor processing. So if I were to say to you all, stand up, we're going to go downstairs, your brain would take in that auditory data, translate that into an action statement, and get your body organized to stand up, and you would even know where we were heading. By late stage dementia, that's exactly what people with dementia hear when we try to give them auditory data. They lose the content, but they keep the rhythm, and they can't figure out what we're trying to get them to do. And it's not because they're not trying, and it's not because we're not trying. It's because we're using the wrong system for what they have left.
Okay, so the next thing I would like to practice is touching without sight. So I would like for you guys to do hand under hand again, and you know, you start and be each roll and touch without sight. So the person with dementia would close their eyes and do that. Okay, and I'm actually gonna watch them do it. Yeah, and then you and I can do it. Okay.
Okay. So I'm touching something else.
Your hand is the wrong side.
There you
we
go.
go.
Yes, hand under hand.
Okay.
And you're brushing her hair, or you're putting on her, brushing her teeth, or
Okay.
feeding her, or touching, fixing her blouse, or.
It's really hard for me to let someone else move my
I
hand.
know.
It's way less weird.
Okay.
Good,
Yeah,
good,
just go ahead and switch. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, want to try it?
Sure, can I try
You'll be the
left hand?
person.
Yeah,
with the next
absolutely.
one.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wait, why am I
Right
closing
here.
my eyes?
Okay.
Fix your
There we
hair.
go.
Brush your hair. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also like, because you know where I'm going.
All right.
Okay.
Thank
Fair.
you. Yes. Okay.
But like it's slower.
Good.
Yeah.
Mhm, okay. And then, okay, so now back to the segment that we just saw, where she explained the purpose of hand under hand and how your brain is wired, and how this is different than just going at someone. Have you noticed that people in the later stages of dementia have trouble understanding what you need them to do? Or we mostly hear from caregivers of people with dementia that, I say the same things. What have been your experiences of talking with caregivers who might be frustrated with their person with dementia, not understanding what they want them to do?
I mean, I think it just takes a lot of patience and like slowing things down. Whenever I'm in clinic, I feel like I need to remind myself to slow down sometimes when I'm talking with patients directly.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like this gives you a better idea of what's going on with the person with dementia? That, I mean, I don't know how often you guys have heard, he's always been like this, he's just stubborn, or, things like that. Have you guys heard that? And why do you think that is? Why do you think, so now that you know this, what do you think might be happening? These different brain connections and brain functions, and what could be happening here?
Auditory processing is interrupted, so they're not comprehending what's being said.
Yeah, definitely auditory processing. And how are they processing instead? More visually, they can still perceive tone. So they're watching you, they can, take that in. And also they can understand the rhythm. They still retain the rhythm of your voice. Okay, all right. So how does this activity and processing help you better understand why problems sometimes arise when we are trying to help someone? Why do problems arise?
If I'm rushed and trying to get someone out the door and they don't hear what's going on, they're frustrated and confused and want to do anything but that.
That is such a good point. So we've all said it's slower, it's more intentional, and sometimes in our world and in our work, we don't have time to slow down, and certainly an overwhelmed caregiver has a difficult time being able to slow down. Yes. So can you share maybe when or how you might want to try this approach? Do you think we would have the opportunities to try this? And when would you like to try it? How? I'll tell you where I have. I have verbally explained this to caregivers many, many, many times and demonstrated it for caregivers many times. Not necessarily a direct approach with someone with dementia. What about you guys? Do you see an opportunity in your future to use some of this? Did we have big lunches? Are y'all fading on me? Okay, look alive, people, eat a mint. Okay, next.
The other two, what you smell and what you taste. Those are your five senses. Those are the ways you get data into your brain. So what are they? What you see, what you hear, what you feel and do, what you smell, and what you taste. These three are your skill manipulators. These two are strong and primitive. But people with dementia are just in the opposite way, like children when it comes to sensory data. Children develop which of these first? Curiosity or safety awareness? Which do they get first? Curiosity. Who's in charge of safety awareness? Someone else, not them. They can care less about safety awareness. They're curious about everything. They want to investigate everything. They're curious. They want to check it out. They have absolutely no safety awareness. Fortunately for everybody, they're pretty well padded. They have pretty quick reflexes. They don't have necks. And their heads sit right on top of their shoulders. They have a long torso. They've really got lots of padding everywhere for both insulation and padding. And their bones are not fragile. They're pretty dense. They bounce. When you get dementia, your brain fries in the opposite way it was developed. It dies, it fries. It's not working in the opposite way. So what are they going to keep? Curiosity. What are they going to lose? Safety awareness. Here's a heads up, you're not my mother. I resent it when you try to be my mother because I've lived a rich, full life. I am not 3 years old. I am not 18 months old. You don't treat me like that. And yet my skill set requires that you figure out how to create an environment that's safe for me. But it still has to have this, or I won't stay there. But if it's too much, I get overwhelmed. And if it's not safe, uh-oh. And I don't have what they have. I don't have padding. My bones are fragile. My fat pads have all gone to my trunk. I don't have it in my extremities. And I'm losing skills, and I lose them in the opposite way I develop them. That's the reality.
So just some finger motions from that. Smell, ring finger. Taste is little finger. Open you like, okay. And see, hear, feel. So it's see, hear, feel, do, and do. I'm sorry. See, hear, feel, and do, smell, and taste. Okay. All right.
We're going to go back to our scenario. Because what I want you to realize, human beings, when they decide to go do something, what happened is I was
we do the actions with the video.
I'm thirsty. Core. Well, now the core of my brain is in the center part of my brain. Do this. This is the limbic system. This is that thrive to survive. This is the part that says I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I've got to peep, I've got to poop. And now it's time, and you guys are getting close to that. It's, look, temperature regulation. It's also how I fight infections. It's heart rate, respiratory rate. It's wake-sleep cycle. All that's in the core of my brain, in the limbic system. And then part of that limbic system, put your index fingers out, is my amygdala. Your amygdala is this survival thing. It's your impulse center. Yeah. Fright, flight, fight. Part of the limbic, but special. It's basically designed to protect you in moments of danger. So it's, shit, what was that? No, I don't like that. I want what I want when I want it. Do that. Oh, what was that? Because some of you can't say shit. I don't know why. You can in certain situations, but just not here in front of everybody. Oh, what was that? That's fright. Then, no, that's flight. I want what I want when I want it. Fight. Fight, flight, fright. Autonomic, automatic, basic core stuff. Then around the outside is built other stuff. The last part of a human brain to develop, put your hand right up here, is this one. Safety awareness. That ability to think things through, to be thoughtful, to consider your options, to control that limbic system, that autonomic system, and instead say, you know what, not a good idea. Hang on there. Let's not go right now. Let's wait a second. Making decisions.
So I've outlined these on your resource page, the parts of the brain and what they do, if you would need to refer to that. And after this segment, I will show you some brain images, just so you can sort of get an idea of, a visual idea of what she's talking about.
Initiating, sequencing, terminating, and being able to see something from somebody else's point of view. Very last part of a human brain to develop. There are some people who never get it, just so you know. You know them. So here I am in the living room, and I decided to make coffee. That was my limbic system saying, you're thirsty, go get something. And I started to act on that, but what happened? Oh, look, gosh, telephone rang, an interruption, auditory. I knew what to do. I answered the phone because I recognized what it was. And then when I heard my friend's voice, I knew who it was, but I could not think of her name right that moment. That is normal aging. And here's why. What happens with normal aging is the following. Put your hand to the back of your brain. For each human being you've ever met, you take a picture, snapshot. If you see them multiple times, you have multiple snapshots, and you have them each in a file folder marked that person. But then, in order to come up with the name of that person, you have to go up here to the left, temporal lobe, and find your file cabinet for names. You have to sort down through the list of names to find the one that matches that picture. And then what you have to do, go over here, you have to do voice recognition and match it up, and then out of your mouth from this side comes the word, hey, Betty. Here's a reality check. Our speed of processing slows over time. It's basically 0.5 to 1% per year from the time you're 25 on. Yeah, around 40 to 50, you're starting to notice the slowing. And so I go to get the data, and it's like, the mouse is not clicking nearly as fast. Now, let me tell you something about these mouse. If you keep clicking that button, you freeze the mouse up and the mouse goes, oh shit, I don't know what you want. Hang on, stop. I don't know what, wait a minute, I'm thinking. What am I thinking? I can't tell you anymore. You want me to think of something. I can't think of it. Oh, blank, blank, blank. It starts with a B. I got to the file drawer. I even got to the right area, but I couldn't come up with the name as quick as I wanted to come up with the name and the expectation. And so some of us go, oh, hey, sweetheart, how are you? I'm cheating. I'm using automatic system to cover for the loss. And some of you call me on it. Who do you think this is? Why are you so mean? One of these days, you'll be older. You'll have that moment of, shit, I don't know who, I know him. This is why we give you name tags. This is why name tags are a good thing. Because what did I provide for your eyeballs? Check, there it is. I don't need to look in the file cabinet. Look, I found it. So as you get with older people, you'll start to notice when you wear your name tag, they look at your name tag after they look at your face, and then they say your name. That's because they're smart. Some of you are doing it here. And if not, you hate when people call you on this. Why are we so mean? Here's what you want to learn how to do. Hey, Betty, it's Teepa. Why don't we talk like that anymore? We used to say things. There was a polite way that you did the telephone. We don't do it anymore. You go, hey, you know who I am? Or my least favorite, when you know somebody has dementia, Mom, which one am I? What is this, a quiz right away? I don't like you very much anymore. You're making me feel stupid. How many people like feeling stupid? Raise your hand if it's your favorite way to feel. We've got to quit doing this, because what ends up happening is you shut down my system, you don't make it work, because right away you shoved your agenda at me. So when we go downstairs, which we are going to do, because you know what I'm noticing? Your limbics are starting to get really active. Y'all had coffee, maybe some juice, you had those, and your limbic is going, we need to pee. We need to pee now. I need to get up, I need to go pee. Can we go pee? I thought we were going to pee. Are we not going to go pee? I need to go pee. And so your limbic system is sort of queuing you up. We got to go soon. And it better not be long. And getting out of these chairs, we better be careful. Because also I will tell you, some of you have to cue the system up. And here's the first thing. Tell me what you do first thing in the morning when you want to go to the bathroom. You want to know what you do? Hold the pee. Because in the very beginning, your limbic said, we need to pee. And when you were really little, what happened when you needed to pee? You peed. As you get older, you learn, not here, not now. We have to put it in a place, a certain place. As you get a little older, these systems are not working as quick and sharp as you might hope. So you actually have to devote energy to hold the pee, make the other muscles work, but hold the pee, keep holding the pee, hold that pee. Keep holding it. Ooh, we're in the bathroom. Do not let go. Hang on tight. Got to do a lot of other things. Keep holding the pee. Hold back the pee while you go. Okay, now put it down. Now the guys have another problem. Okay, now you can let go. Okay, really, you can. Just relax. No, don't hold on. No, come on, there's more. I'm telling you there's more. Come on, let's let it out. Come on. No, don't tighten up. No, that's not enough. So the women have stress incontinence and the guys have bladder outlet problems. They have retention. So this is the tricky part of getting old. It has nothing to do with dementia. But you put dementia on top of it, and we have big issues. When we meet back downstairs, what we're going to do is finish out the scenario and talk about skill building. And the whole thing is going to come together for you to help you appreciate how you can help people take in data and how you can use your skill to be supportive.
Okay, so we'll take a break in a little bit. Let's go through this piece. So have you ever had an interaction with a child where they were getting ready to do something dangerous and you saw it getting ready to happen and something unsafe, okay, out of curiosity, and how did you react? No! Right, okay, yes. And what happened? What was the result of that?
I think it happened anyway.
Okay, all right. What was the child's reaction?
I got scared.
Okay, they get scared. Andrea, you're an expert here.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you catch them, sometimes you don't.
Yeah. Have you ever had an interaction that startled them?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Sometimes you scare them before it happens and they're like, what is going on?
Right. So now, given what we know, does that make sense? Yeah, okay. And when you think about working with people with dementia and you ask the same questions of yourself, do you have a better understanding of how to approach them when, you know, that, and why? So do you have a better understanding of how to approach them if they are going into something out of curiosity that might be dangerous? Redirect, yes. With what sort of energy?
Calm.
Yeah, with calm energy, okay. And what understanding of that process does this give you? In other words, what have they lost? What have they maintained?
And their prefrontal cortex is slowly deteriorating.
Yeah.
So they don't have like good judgment.
Right, so they've lost safety awareness, but they keep curiosity, right? So that will lead to some just very much similar to children. So I think we talked about something that we would change in our care routine or in talking with caregivers, that we would advocate for a calm approach with understanding that this is due to brain changes and not due to stubbornness or, you know, lack of intellect, right? Okay. All right, let's take a short break. We'll come back in 10 minutes if that works for everybody. Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. I'm actually going to can pass these around. These are some brain images of a normal brain and a brain with Alzheimer's. These are infrared images of brains, normal Alzheimer's and frontal lobe dementia. And that's just a little diagram of some of the things that are in your notes. So if you guys want to pass those around. One thing that fascinates me about this and the many, many conversations that we have with caregivers about paranoia and hypervigilance in people with Alzheimer's is this. So this is the amygdala, and it's your fight, flight, and you can see that it's still there. It's still there with Alzheimer's. And this brain image was an eye-opener for me, that, you know, they might lose the other stuff that would help them to reason through their fear, but that fight or flight is still very much there. So, okay, y'all can look at those, and I'll get this started.
Do a quick review because we've changed places. And one of the things we know about brains is where you learn and hear something matters. And one of the things as we get older, it matters more than you think. When you change rooms, your brain resets the screen. And that is one of the reasons, even if there wasn't a phone call, you might walk from one room to the other and then, what was it I came in here for? Because when you're in a whole new setting, look at all the new data that's coming in, and it's bombarding your senses. And if you didn't strongly hook the thing you wanted to go do into that, what's called working memory, by the time you get to the new place, there's nothing to find, unless you go back to where you had the thought before, and then you can find it. Now, I just said a word that's really important, working memory. We now know there's a whole variety of different kinds of memory storage in the human brain. We used to just think it was either long-term and short-term. That's not true. Working memory is probably one of the most vital kinds of memories, and it involves a complex process. Do this. Working memory means that you have to wire together all parts of your brain to get it to work. Because it's complex, human beings can hold the following number of things in working memory. Working memory means I'm able to manipulate and work with them all at the same time. 5, put your hand up. 5, isn't that Wonderful. 5 to 8. That's the most a human being can hold on to, and this is the least that a normal functioning human being should be able to hold on to at a time. 5 to 8. So I should be able to hold on to at least 5 pieces of information in my working memory. It's actually pretty complicated. I've got to do a variety of things to do it, but I can. So what I did when I wanted to make coffee, when I was sitting there, finished the TV program, I put make coffee in working memory. And then I went to a new place, and before I could get settled in the new place, the kitchen, which is where I would make the coffee, the telephone rings. So I didn't quite make it to the kitchen to establish the relationship, which would have allowed me to go ahead and do what? Make coffee. I could have finished it off. But instead, what happened is the telephone rang. Attention, attention, new data, incoming. So what I did is I went and answered the telephone, and the first thing, it was my friend. Now I got diverted a little bit, because what did I have to find? Because the way she did it. Her name, and so that took a little energy. So it's my friend Betty. And then she asked me a question. Do you want to meet? She gave me data at 2 o'clock, at the mall, at Macy's. She told me there was a new chocolate store that opened. And then I had to hold on to the information about that. And then I had to go find the thing that I know she likes. So I had to go do that. And it was the white, shut up. The white. Now that reaction was you trying to give me more data when I was already trying to work with data. And so what did you notice my little limbic did? Shut up, I don't like that. So shut up is a way to say you're trying to do too much and I didn't like that. And it's a fight system. It was an autonomic, automatic. So people will say, shut up, I'm trying to, but you leave me alone. That distress sign is just you're trying to put data in and I'm already processing. Do you mind? And what you want to say is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I was just trying to help you. It's like, what part of I was trying to process data and you're interrupting did you not get? And what's our natural reaction when somebody says, shut up? No, I was going to tell you why I was interrupting you. That's what you want to do. Do this. Go ahead, do it. Y'all love diarrhea of the mouth. You get diarrhea of the mouth. You try to tell them even when they said, don't tell me. You ignore their message back to you because you have important. You want them to understand why you interrupted them. I don't give a shit why you interrupted me. All I'm trying to tell you is quit interrupting me so I can finish what I was doing. Now, some of us are always that way, but guess what happens when you get dementia? Even if you weren't, you become more that way. Guess what happens when you're stressed? Same thing. So professionals, when you're trying to talk to families about, this is what I want you, well, shut up, I can't take it. Family members, you're trying to talk to another family member. I can't hear this right now. Would you? Particularly, you're trying to talk to the one who's the primary because you're observing that their behavior is not helping. And they're going, ah! And you're going, wait, I just want to tell you. What did they just tell you? I'm full, leave it alone. We have a hard time hearing that message, don't we? Because what means we need to do what? Take a time out, just shut up. And then when they pause, that's when you say, I'm sorry, I interrupted what you were doing. We want to work with them, not fight with them. And if you keep pushing your agenda, do this, take your finger and poke at somebody with it. Go ahead, poke. How many of you like being poked with that? Would you just be quiet? So what I'm going to tell you, this is a critical message for you to get into your brain and appreciate. When I give you negative feedback, it's not because I'm trying to be ugly. It's I'm trying to get you to listen to me because you're generally trying to talk to me. So I put coffee in there, but all this other stuff. I filled up all the space. Not only the 5. I'm going to have caramels, but you're going to have coconut. And we need to meet at the menswear entrance. So what will I not have with me when I get there? The vacation pictures, and who will I not have called? Margaret. Where's coffee? Well, I lost that a long time ago. That's not even on the table anymore. I mean, it's long gone. I don't even have a way to get to it anymore right now. Except if you're a young person, you're young, and your wiring is really good and quick. What will happen? What's the first thing I did when I couldn't think what it was? I looked around the kitchen. So the first thing you do is you look around the kitchen. A young person hasn't done that much stuff in the kitchen. So they look around the kitchen, and what do their eyes notice? The coffee pot, and they go, cha-ching, drop the penny. They don't have to go anywhere. You're a little older. You've done a lot of things in the kitchen. Some of them we want to talk about, some we don't. But you've done so many things in the kitchen, you can't look around the kitchen and get it to pop. So then you try system number 2. You always go in this order. You talk to yourself. Tell your children it's healthy. Because what you're literally trying to do by talking out loud is prompt the memory of why you came in there. You literally say to yourself, and everybody did it. I heard some of you all do it. Now, what did I come in here for? Because now you've moved to auditory cueing. You're trying to cue yourself up, because if you say it out loud, maybe it will prompt what it was. It will be enough of a cue to get you to go, cha-ching, there it is. But that didn't work either. Because when you get a little older, it wasn't firmly enough embedded, and there's too many other things floating around now. I've lost it. So I have to actually physically travel back to the setup where I was. And then if you watched, I tried the whole thing all over again. I looked at the chair, I looked at the TV. I say to myself, I was watching TV, the program ended, and I still couldn't get it to pop until, cha-ching, there it was, right there waiting for me in my working memory. I just couldn't get to it. Normal aging. That's absolutely normal. All of that is normal.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so what are some features that you noticed about typical aging? Get your brains fired up. What's part of typical aging as opposed to atypical aging? I have a cheat sheet, but let's hear y'all say some things. What can y'all come up with?
Some minor forgetfulness.
Yeah.
Minor forgetfulness, okay. All right.
Having to spark your memory by talking to yourself.
Okay.
Normal.
All right. Good. Excellent. So can't recall a word, so describe the word to get it to pop up. Okay, that's typical aging. Little bit more time to process information. Slower to think. Same thing, sort of, I guess. Slower to do. We may hesitate more. I'm saying we because I'm an old person. So what else? What else is more part of typical aging? Can anybody else think of anything?
Decreased capacity for working memory.
Decreased capacity for working memory. Okay, good. So also more likely to look before we leap. And we'll know the person but not be able to find the name. We may pause when word finding, and new data reminds us of old data. Okay, so will you get with your partner and have a little discussion? Why do you think there's so much misunderstanding of typical aging?
Okay. I feel like there's a million and one things on the internet that would
Do you want to
about
partner up or you
what
want
Sure.
to take three?
Yes, why do you think there's so much
Or,
misunderstanding of typical
like
aging?
what signs to look out for.
I think there's a lot of
mystery cure,
like
you know?
fear
Yeah.
of like,
I'm sure everybody's
what could this
forgetful,
mean? What
but
is
like,
normal? What's not normal? That's the
Symptoms.
first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, I think that is so astute because, you know, you can have a fear reaction and that can just kind of take you down a road. And that can really be some kind of misunderstanding.
Fear around it in general.
Yeah, start adding attributes
And, you know, they might have like a
Yeah,
history in their
hard to
family.
say, like,
Or experiencing some
I
type
think
of brain change.
also,
obviously different
Um,
lens, but.
And so I feel like
we
the
do, you
caregivers
know,
that I
some
work
of these
with,
overlap with,
Right.
they just so
Especially
hyper
for
aware
someone
of all of their own.
They
we
have.
have, you might have a
Like you're saying,
mild word
like,
finding
mhm.
issue, not a severe word finding issue, but it's still sort of
Yeah, it really
similar,
does.
and it's hard to kind of know where that line is. Yeah.
Convinces people that
Of course.
it's gonna be worse, so that makes it worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Exacerbates it.
Okay, what did y'all come up with?
We talked about how you can just like hyperfixate on all of these little changes, and it can just kind of increase that feedback loop of just anxiety and paying more attention to the things that you might be having more trouble with.
Yes, and like we started with, like, it can raise your cortisol levels and make you even more distressed, and, yeah. What did you guys come up with?
We talked about, like, there's a fine line between normal aging and not normal aging, and
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, well, Dad's just old, but then, like, we can understand why families wait so long before they seek help, because it's probably not as obvious until it's really not obvious.
Yeah, that's such a good point. A lot of families do the opposite of jumping on that fear wheel and say, he's fine, and wait a long time before they acknowledge it or seek help. That's a good point. We said also very similar to what you said, which is, the fear of starting to feel yourself slip, if you will, can lead to that loop for sure. So what are some features of typical aging that can create friction, stress, or problems between people who are trying to interact with and help each other? What are some features of typical aging that can create friction when you're trying to help someone?
The delay and like finding words, like the drive, like, oh, I know what you're saying, like I want to fill that in for you. And it creates friction because people don't like to feel, I don't know, coddled like that. Like,
Yeah.
I will get there when I get there.
Like jumping in too soon, it could almost feel like disrespectful, and yeah, like I don't trust that you're getting ready to come up with that word, or else I'm impatient. Yeah, what else? What else can cause friction?
Also process times in the same regard to what you said, like if you're asking someone to slice a banana, like maybe they need to think about the tool that they need to slice before they can move on.
Like go through all those, like it doesn't seem, the steps don't seem complicated to us, but it sort of is a complicated process. Get the banana, get the right tool, and then actually execute. Yeah, I can also see that it might cause some friction on the end of the person who's trying to help, just like it might take a lot of patience. If you're spending an entire day with someone who's got typical aging, they're moving slower, they're, talking slower, trying to, yeah, I can see how that could happen too. Okay, good. How has learning about your brain and how it works affected your thinking?
Becoming a little hyper aware.
Yes.
I agree too much. It's like a lot to learn sometimes.
Yeah, you might overthink a little bit. Right.
About me and everyone around me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, even about your loved ones, you might, yeah. Okay, so let's review, and then we're gonna get together and you can pick one of these to practice with your partner, okay? So how should you greet someone with dementia? How should you greet someone? So we would go
first.
Yeah, very good, okay, excellent. And if someone seems to be looking for a word, what is a great option to give, what is a great option to give the person a chance? What option can you use to give the person a chance to come up with their word? And it's to silently count, okay? And then to prompt or remember more than 5 things, what might be helpful?
Visual cues.
Yeah, a list, or some visual cues, very good. If you ask me how to get somewhere and I am older, hypothetically, what might I do when describing directions?
Use landmarks.
Yes, right. And okay, so pick one of these to practice with your partner.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right. How about, okay.
I don't remember all of them, but the last one was,
You wanna do the remembering more than 5 things, like how do we, I feel like I'm confused, sorry.
Okay, how about,
so what we're gonna do
Okay.
is we're going to.
How do I get to the parking garage?
Okay, so you're gonna go to the elevator, you're gonna go to the second floor,
And then we're gonna.
and then you're gonna
walk out
try to
and
smell the
see
coffee.
the
And your nose is gonna take you towards the coffee. When you look down over the balcony, you're gonna see PJs underneath.
We're gonna go to the
You're
sixth
going in the
floor,
right
so that's
direction.
number 6.
To the
And we
Perfect. Okay.
Oh, it's so complicated, and the fact that they put it in like the neuroscience thing is really hilarious.
I have patients complain about it every time I'm in the elevator with them.
All right, friends.
Yeah, no, that was
Good job.
That's just to get to my office, damn.
This next part is scary to me.
I've been watching.
I think that's clear.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
The spaceship.
It is.
Phone rings. Hello? Hey, sweetheart. Yeah. Who is this exactly? Teddy who? Oh. Well, why didn't you?
I've surmised that it's black and white because this is now atypical aging.
Okay. Okay.
It's a guess.
Decide? Okay. What do you want? Me today? Why do you wait till the last minute? I wish you'd tell me ahead of time. Well, I don't remember you talking about it at Bridge. Did you talk about it at Bridge? Well, you talk all the time at Bridge. Your mouth runs incessantly. Huh? Well, okay, I don't mean to be mean, but you just talk a lot. That's all. What? Oh, you want to meet at the mall? Okay, well, that's fine. Which end? 2 o'clock? Yeah. Macy's? Well, honey, I don't think there's a Macy's at that mall. Where's there a Macy's? No, that's a J.C. Penney. Penny's, I have a card with them. I have a credit card with them. I know what it is. I buy things there. What do you mean they moved out? No, I shopped there not long ago. There's no way they moved out. Did they just close up? Well, good Lord. No, that's still, you sure? I think you're wrong. Well, fine, I'll meet you at that end. I know where you're talking about then. Huh? Inside the men's, well, of course I know where inside the menswear is, but you better get to the right store. You're not going to be there. Huh? All right, well, fine, whatever. What? Oh, they opened a chocolate store. Well, you know me, I love that. That's my favorite. What? Well, I'll have caramel, and you'll get the, oh, you like the kind of brown hairy ball and the brown stuff. What do you mean, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the brown hairy ball kind that you like. You like the brown hairy ball. Do you speak English? Honest to God, get what you want. I don't give a shit. I mean, whatever. I won't start arguing about this. Huh? Well, no, I'll call her and see if she wants to come. That's fine. What? The vacation pictures? Oh, about on the boat? Yeah, I'll bring them. Wait till you see yourself in that bathing suit. Well, honey, you look like a cow. No, I'm telling you, your butt cheek is hanging out so bad. I mean, it looks, I mean, you must have put on, what, 30 pounds? I mean, you're eating too many of the brown hairy ball things. That's what's going on. I mean, that's all I can tell you about it, because you got to be sucking them down because the way it's coming. Well, if you don't like looking the way you look, you should do something about it. That's what I say. Well, listen, do you want to get together? You're going to get an attitude. Well, then I'll see you there, too. That's fine. I don't know why you're so stirred up. You're the one eating. All right, then. Shit. I mean, I don't know what her problem is. Lord, she gets an attitude. Now, let me think here. Oh. 30 cup. Coffee. A coffee cup. Now, I told my son that I was fairly sure that gypsies were coming in here at night and making coffee, drinking my coffee, and leaving dirty dishes, because I've never left a dirty dish in my life. And here it sits, a dirty coffee cup, partially drunk out of. I'll guarantee this has their prominence all over it. And I better go check the bathroom, because sure, when they get in here and get that, they'll steal toilet paper, too. They always steal toilet paper. Look at that. See, the roll's empty again. They come in here, and he thinks I'm nuts. I'm not nuts, because I saw that it's gone. Well, I'm going to go down to the corner store here and get some toilet paper, because there's nothing worse than constipation, and you got to go, and there's no toilet paper. You got to hang some. So I go down to the corner store, and I pick up a few things that I need, because I know there's some things I need. I come back, and I go to put them in the fridge and such, and there's another quart of milk in there. Well, I wonder who brought that by. I don't know when they brought that. Well, good. I can make use of it. It'll be fine. And let me go put this toilet paper up. No, I'm not going to put it in here, because sure as hell they'll steal it just like they stole the other stuff. I'm gonna go put this in the spare bedroom closet, because they won't think to look there. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. This is where they're keeping it until they can bring a truck to come pick it up. There's gotta be 30 rolls right there. I'm gonna hide it under the bed. They won't know where to look for it. At 10 minutes after 2, the telephone rings. Hello? Well, hi there. How are you? What do you mean, where am I? I'm at home. Where are you? Well, what are you doing at the mall? Well, if you wanted me to come to the mall, you should have called me. I can't read your mind. What do you mean you did? Who'd you talk to? No, I didn't talk to you. I don't remember if I'd talked to you. I haven't talked to you in, I don't know, a month or so. You did not call me. Maybe you called the other one. Listen, I mean, I hate saying this because I hate even bringing it up, but I think you best go see the doctor. Because I think you may have that dementia they talk about, because I think you're all turned around, sweetheart. All right, well, bye-bye. All right, so at your table, I want you to do a quick review of what's normal and what's not. So go through the laundry list of everything we've talked about and see if you can highlight some of the things of not normal. Just talk about your not normals.
Okay, you guys have note sheets and there are some pens, if that would be helpful. Or you can just sort of discuss, we can talk about like, what did you see in there that was normal and what did you see that was not normal? What was some atypical stuff that you saw?
Like forgetting conversations within a few minutes.
Yeah, not being able to remember the conversation.
Not having a filter, like saying things that are not kind. Unprovoked.
Yeah, not having a filter, not being able to filter hurtful, impulsive language.
Some confabulation.
Yeah, thinking of people's feelings and.
Yeah, even a little paranoia
Yeah.
there, yeah. What else?
Forgetting some, I don't know what the timeline was, but like she forgot the mall store had changed, and so that could have been ages ago. So that would have been like, meant she forgot a more longer term memory.
Yeah, right. And what about the not being able to name the objects? You know, just being able to only describe them. So these, this is Tipa's list. We'll see how we did. Holding on to 5 or 8 items in working memory. She was not able to do that. Able to recognize the person on the phone by relationship. I think she was able to do that, right? Use the data provided on who is on the phone. Hold on to new or more recent information about places and activities. She could not do that. Use old information to lock in new data. Find words, especially nouns. That's what she really struggled with that with Brown Hairy Ball. And describe words with other commonly accepted words, that's kind of what I think what she did. Control impulsive speech and ideas. We got that one. And value relationships and modify behavior to control observations. No, she did not do that. Recognize strong visual cues like coffee cup, toilet paper in the closet. Did she do that?
She recognized them. I don't know what she did with that.
Yeah, she didn't know what to do with the information. She misinterpreted the information. And what about reasonable explanation to recall why there is toilet paper? No. And use strong auditory cues to recall recent conversations or details. No, she could not do that. All right, we did okay. We got about a third of them. All right, so let's talk on a scale of 1 to 10. Let me hear from each of you. How do you feel about your ability to distinguish between typical and atypical aging? Andrea?
10 being most confident.
Yeah.
I'll give myself a 8.
An 8, okay. Lil?
I am not confident doing this. I would say 5 or 6.
Okay, all right.
I'd say 5.
Yeah, I was gonna go for 6, 7.
6, 7?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
thinking 6. I
Alright.
feel like I can be fooled.
Right.
Which a lot of people like intentionally try to, that's how I think a lot of people get away with like extending, I guess their access to care because they can kind of fill in the gaps. Does that make sense?
I missed the access to care part.
So like maybe they're not letting their loved ones know that they're going through these
yes,
changes and so they're
yes.
not getting as quick access
Yes,
to
like the
support.
reference earlier, like, oh, hey, sweetheart, like kind of covering and protecting
Yeah.
that you don't really
Yeah.
know, that you can't, right. Yeah, they're able to compensate with other things.
Compensation, that's the
Yeah,
word.
yeah,
Well, I
definitely.
think it also depends how well you know the person too. Like if it's someone we're dealing with in clinic care versus someone in your personal life.
Yeah, how well you know them,
Right.
for sure. Like if you know them intimately, you might be
Right.
able to pick it up a little
Sure.
bit better. That's a good point. Okay, what are some key things that you can listen for and consider that would help you to tell the difference?
The like word substitutions, I don't know if the.
Yeah, word finding difficulties,
mhm.
yeah. That's a good one.
Maybe like their orientation to new spaces. I think.
Say more.
I guess I'm thinking about like how they react in a new space versus like where they're comfortable, like, you know, like
Oh, yes.
that could distinguish between normal and not
That's such a,
normal.
yes. We actually, when we talk to caregivers about taking their person, for example, out of town, it can really, you're right. People with dementia rely on their physical environment for cues. And they can get very disoriented when they're removed from their home environment. Good, yeah. And maybe also, the out of bounds explanation for something that is very mundane, like toilet paper in the closet. This is where the gypsies are storing it or whatever. That might be a cue. Anything else that might help distinguish between typical and atypical aging?
General mood, or how people react or not react to, like in this video, the woman on the TIPA who got accusatory of the person on the other end, kind of got loud, her voice got boisterous. So just the way that people are able to regulate their emotions.
Regulating emotions and like, I guess, it sounds like what you're saying is that their reaction is congruent with the situation and with what's going on. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Because like an example for myself, if I don't have something in my calendar, I'm not going to show up to it. So it's likely that I might forget. But if I do, my first reaction instead of being crazy and loud would be like, oh gosh, let me go and check my calendar to make sure, and then put it on there for next time. There's no reasoning anymore.
I was just gonna say too, like the if you personally have had the same conversation with someone twice in the same day and they like don't have any recollection of it, I'd say that's a pretty big red flag of
Right.
abnormal aging.
Right, absolutely no recollection at all, definitely, yeah. So can you think of ways and share any ways that you might be able to use this in everyday life, this ability to recognize, or how this would come up for us?
Kind of like those small tests of short-term memory, like, aren't gonna be quite what they used to, so, family members will get really frustrated if they're like hearing the same thing over and over again, or they're sharing the same thing, but they're not doing what they're being told, because
Yeah,
it's gone.
yeah, and what can we do? Like, how can we help with that?
Remind the caregiver that visual cues are
Yeah.
be the first
Yeah.
thing, and
Absolutely, giving caregivers cues, understand, now that we have an understanding of the difference between atypical and atypical aging, we can define that for the caregiver and reassure them if it's just typical aging, and then also maybe provide them with tools. Not maybe, definitely provide them with tools, just like you said. Okay, very good. We're going to have some hand movements coming up. Okay, so this is, let me move that guy. I'm going to try to, is this just a click and drag?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Those are some normal aging versus not normal aging. Unable to do as I did before, so kind of looking out of their routine and not like the same person that you know. Unable to start tasks, definitely unable to see things through or think things through, like slicing a banana, as Lily said. Those are some little examples. Maybe I can get that up there like that.
How many things you picked up on that I know? Let's see how good you are. You're pretty good, I bet. So when I answered the phone, did I actually know exactly who I was speaking to? So I was unable to take the voice print and match it to the person that I know. So the challenge here is I covered a little bit. Hey, sweetheart, of course I do. Yeah, Betty who? Because I got Betty, she told me Betty, but even with Betty, even with the name, I couldn't get across to the other side of my brain, recognize the voice print, and go, oh yeah, that's who it is. I had to have help to get back across and find the last name and hook it into the picture that I have in the back of my brain. My wiring's not working quite right. Now that could have been a stroke. It could be inattention. It could be that I know a lot of Bettys, or it could be that something started to go wrong with my wiring. Okay? Now the next thing that happened, we're going to meet at the mall at 2 o'clock. What happened to the word Macy's and my association with that new store? It's just not there. I can't, there's no connection. The new data did not get wired into my hippocampus. I'm not able to hold on to the word, connect it with a location, and make it be something I could find. So when I go to the mall, what signage am I going to be looking for? J.C. Penney's. And so I will go right by that mall, and I will keep driving, and I will keep driving, because I know that it's got to be here. I can go over 300 miles, and then when I find the J.C. Penney's, I don't recognize, number one, how far I've driven and how long it's been. I don't think I've gone that far. I think maybe 15, 20 minutes. I mean, it was just slightly, a little bit longer. I have no idea how dangerous I have just made my life and how challenged you are by what I'm doing, because I can't hold on to that data because my hippocampus is not necessarily registering accurately. This is why we have so many of those things where people get turned around. It's my wayfinding that's challenged by this. Now, again, this is a highly vascularized blood supply area of your brain, so it's high risk for strokes, but it's also one of the very first places that for many types of dementia we see damage. And so the challenge is they can't figure out how to get from place to place. Once they're in a place, once they get to the place, they recognize all the cues about the place. It's just getting there and getting back. And these can be, in mid-disease, these can be really familiar places. So they're standing in the house, and they say, where's the bathroom? It drops, because it's like, Daddy, it's right down the hall. Well, when did you move it to right down the hall? Because now what I have, do this. I have an overlay of this new data, but the old data is the house I grew up in. And I'm literally picturing the house I grew up in and where I would find the restroom. And this is not matching. And so I'm almost immobilized, or I'm frustrated because I thought it would have been right there. And so my question to you is, when did you move it? does your brain go? It's exactly where it's always been. Because these layers do this. These layers are clearly separated. Do this for me. They're starting to interlock and get messed up. And so if you look like somebody who was in my life a while back, I may make a mistake and think you are that person because I'm losing the layering of time, my hippocampal area, just like I'm losing my space placement. Time and space are controlled by your hippocampus. And I'm starting to lose that skill. Directionality. Can't do it. So the next thing that comes up, so we have that one, and then the next one. I like caramels and you like. Now, I want you to take this one. The first words people who have cognitive change almost always lose, they almost always lose nouns first. They lose the names of them because they're highly specific and you have to get to a particular location and then you have to articulate. One is getting it in and the other one is processing and the other one's getting it back out. So you have, it's really complicated. You've got to receive, you've got to process, you've got to send out. This is all these guys together. But let's look for a word, push it up like this. But I can't find it. So here's what I want you to do. When you have not normal, go like this. Yahoo! This is my attempt to describe the word. What do you notice about how far away from the word I am? Pretty far away. And so your brain is going, huh? Because when you described the word, it was a short circle. There's actually a term for it. It's called circumlocution. I talked around the word. So I called it a brown hairy ball in the brown stuff. And I can tell most people in this room, if you've never heard me do it before, your brain automatically went, ooh. What? Because in your mind, for 90% of you, you went to a sexual image and it wasn't pretty. Admit it. Many of you don't want to admit that's what you actually pictured in your mind. You pictured a ball. It was small. It was hairy. And it was covered in brown stuff. And you were not thinking coconut in chocolate. You were thinking gross and disgusting, and I hope I don't have to clean that up. Especially caregivers, you were for sure thinking this. But let me ask you, what does the outside of a coconut look like? It's a brown, hairy ball. And what I was trying to do is describe coconut, but I couldn't find a lot of the descriptors, and so I had to go to the outside of the coconut, realize that I'm describing it visually. A brown, hairy ball in the brown stuff. Just a second word. Chocolate. And so I'm left with the brown stuff is vague. So I want you to do this. Looking for something. I want to tell you something. You know, the whatchamacallit, the thing that it is. You know, the thing that is the thing that goes around the thing. You know what I mean? The thing that you put in, the one who comes by and does the thing that he does with the thing. You're going, I have no idea what you're talking about. Because your brain, do this, if this is what I'm doing, your brain is going, how about this? How about this? How about this? How about this? And your brain's going, there's too many options. I don't know what to pick. Your brain's, I don't know what you're talking about because we're expecting this. That's not what you got. And so this is frustrating for who? Both of us. We are both incredibly frustrated by this lack of skill. We get so frustrated that we get stupid about it. And you turn to the person and I say, turn to your partner or somebody near you now because you may have switched up. I want one of you to say, I need something. Go ahead and say that. And I want the other person to spontaneously react to that. What do you need? Yes, what did you just ask them for? I want you to realize how stupid you are. I want you to realize how dumb that was. They said to you, I need something. Obviously, if they could have thought of the name of the thing they needed, what would they have said? I need a... So what did you ask them? The thing they couldn't do it. Why do you think they didn't do it? Because they couldn't think of it. Now what you're expecting is this. With dementia, good luck.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna review typical versus atypical aging again. And so what are some features that you noticed about typical aging? You can leave it recorded.
No, I'm leaving it, but it wasn't, you weren't in the recording.
Oh, thank you. Okay, why am I questioning you? Okay, let's review typical aging. I have a list, so I have a cheat sheet. Typical aging. How about this? Like, huh?
Oh no, I couldn't think of what it was called.
Maybe you might have difficulty with word recall, but you would be this close to describing the word, and usually probably with some visual words. That's visual, and to help get the word to pop out. And they might process information a little more slowly, a little slower to think, slower to do, hesitate more. And they might know the person but not know the name. And they may pause when word finding, but maybe eventually get there, or use, closer words to the actual word to describe them. And then new data reminds them of old data. So with atypical aging, so unable to think the same, unable to do as before, which I think somebody made a very good point about, do something totally out of character for them. Unable to get started on a task. They might get stuck in a moment of time, unable to think things out. Can anybody think of any examples of those? Unable to get started on a task.
Like, Lily was saying with, if you tell somebody to go cut a banana,
Yeah,
they're like, well, I don't even know where to start.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what do you think it means, unable to do as before, or unable to think the same? How would we recognize something like that?
Is that like referring to like the sequencing of events?
I think that's definitely part of it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also maybe really liking something before dementia and then not so much caring for it afterwards. We see a lot of change in appetite, for example, and gearing towards certain types of foods when that's not what they geared themselves towards before. Unable to think things out or sequence through things. Unable to successfully place a person. The words won't come even with visual, verbal, or touch cues. They're confused between the past and the present, like that overlay of the new house and the old house, and getting confused. And then, of course, personality and behaviors or behaviors are different. So it's important for us as medical professionals and clinicians to understand that, not all signs of atypical aging are dementia. Can anybody think of things that might cause some atypical, to make someone appear like they're aging atypically? That aren't dementia. I'll give you a hint. Here's one. Go ahead.
Oh, strokes.
Yeah. Okay. Like maybe they had a stroke. Yeah, definitely.
MS.
And yeah, MS. All those
So
things.
say any other neurological
Yeah.
condition.
A hearing impairment, even living with high stress, being acutely ill. Medication interactions, psychological issues, or chronic pain. So from everything that was covered today in today's class, can you share with your partner 2 things that you learned about typical aging, 2 things that you learned about atypical aging? We can share it as a group. We're a small group. So what did y'all learn about atypical aging and typical aging?
I like the way that they describe items. I thought that was interesting. Like, instead of being like more finite about what they're trying to describe, it's just a little, the words that they can find, essentially, to try to describe something aren't going to be close really to the object.
Yeah, make it
Or as
more
close.
vague.
Yeah.
In typical aging, you mean, or atypical?
Atypical.
Yeah, in atypical aging, okay, right. They might not even get close to it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
I also was reminded about if someone that you're working with or somebody in your family isn't able to remember what they wanted to do or what they wanted to say, take them back to the space where you maybe started that conversation or where they wanted to accomplish that one thing they were working on, and it might come back. Like if you have kept your wine glasses in the same cabinet for the last 20 years, but you're in another room and you couldn't remember that you needed the wine glasses on the table for dinner, go to the room where the wine glasses are and maybe they'll remember.
So like where you learn something is important. Yeah. Okay, great. What else? Everybody take a turn.
It's helpful to have like a number that sometimes caregivers can have, like the 5 to 8 things work, like for the working memory, like how much one person can take on at once. Because I think we can always say like, you know, we don't want to be, or we don't want our attention divided too many different ways, but I think having a number can be helpful to share.
Right, a definitive sort of concrete number that is helpful. What else?
Difficulty with starting a task. It was just helpful to think about again that we might take it for granted and they might be frustrated and not knowing. I went to another dementia something or other CEU. I work with college students, so but his wife was she went to go brush her teeth and she had like lost the connection between the toothpaste and the toothbrush, and so he would just find her standing like holding both of them, having no idea like what the next step was.
Wow, yeah. Good example. So, and if we can do a little round robin here, given what you have learned today, what are like 1 or 2 things that you might do differently? And this can be with people that you know in your personal life, this can be professionally. What is something that you might take away from this to do differently?
I think for my parents, maybe I'm gonna stop trying to finish their sentences.
All right. Reduce friction.
I think just that reminder of like entering a visual space and talking to someone before making that, like, you know, it's so easy to just like come up and touch someone's shoulder and then, you know, they have the wherewithal to turn their attention to you and, you know, they're not startled, but like when someone has dementia, like that response is a little bit more scary.
Yeah, great. I think that would give you a very different reaction to do it the way that you're describing. Much calmer, like y'all said, reaction.
I was thinking that I wish I knew the hand over hand, move their hand with you thing when I was a treating therapist. Just I feel like as a PT, especially when I was working in patient rehab, you like go to get these patients up who are confused and all these other things from bed, and there's a lot of I'm not moving.
Yeah, or fighting back.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, hand under hand. And she is an OT. Her background is OT. Yeah, so.
Not
Thank you.
necessarily here at work, but for me, it's just maybe modeling those behaviors so that family members and other people that are around loved ones with memory and thinking changes can see the proper way to do things without it being pushed.
Excellent. Yeah. Very good.
I like just slowing down and making sure that you're clear about the next steps and not taking too many things. Like I might take for granted that I understand like the next sequence of events that are going to happen, but maybe we slow down and just do the first 2 and then be really clear about what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said translates to helping help any helping relationship, right? So that's great. Okay, very good. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
I have some feedback forms, and I would like to ask each of you to at least put one thing that you feel that I could work on. So that would be most helpful. I know that's hard to do since we've worked together and all of that, but it will really help me because my goal is to get better. So thank you. All right. Are you ready for me to stop it?
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.